Our attention is now turned to a viral video that has stirred heated debate online. A sprawling mansion said to belong to the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, surfaced on social media, drawing sharp criticism from many Nigerians. In fact, a media outfit had alleged the property was completed within just 2 years of his appointment, suggesting it reflects a corruption-powered lifestyle. The minister has also fired back, asking that the report be retracted or that he would take legal action, insisting the mansion was both initiated and completed before he became minister, and that the backlash is misplaced. In part 2 of the show today, I'm joined by Ladi Awotinde, a construction entrepreneur, who says he worked on this project and can corroborate the minister's timeline. Mr. Awotinde, thanks for joining us on Beyond the Headlines. Let's begin with your role. When exactly did you first get involved in this project, and walk us through the scope of your work on the mansion?
Okay, thank you for having me, Nifemi. Good evening, Nigerians. We all understand the nature of the country, the tension and all of that right now, and with all that is going on, inflation and cost of living and everything. So there are concerns, especially when you see people who hold public offices possess certain kind of assets. So there's always a public concern about it. So that I understand. But that being said, we also need to understand that this particular property we're talking about belongs to a man who has had a very long-standing profile of investing in real estate and building hospitality infrastructure. Anybody who is close to Oyo State and Ibadan knows that, and that is obvious everywhere. So with regards to the mansion to the home in question, so this project started way back in the design stage was in 2020, and I know that design was wrapped up around 2021. And the minister's aide has also come up to the media space to highlight all the step-by-step construction report and all of that has happened since 2021 to 2023, updating pictures, profile and stages of construction, conversation, charts, and all of that. I've seen that. I know you've seen a bit of that also in the media. And that's it. So if you see those conversations are dated as far back as 2021, 2022, progress and all of that. So I was involved because at the design stage, we were part of the design team to put in intent, consultancy and all of that. But and every other person who lives around Magara in Ibadan can also testify to that. So that's what I say.
Well, like you said, the minister's aide did claim that the building project commenced in November 2021 and was completed in August of 2023. And that's just a month before his appointment as Minister of Power. You are into construction. How long does it usually take to build such a gigantic edifice?
And if you need to understand that particular building, the Minister of Power has actually stayed on that same property for over 12 years. So what you see right now was a new building that was built on his existing home. He had lived in that particular plot while he was in the private sector. So, and as at 2021, you will agree with me that it was a private citizen. So many people talk about Bayo Adelabu as a Minister of Power. What we don't talk about is the fact that before he became Minister of Power, just 2 years ago, the man is a man of many firsts. He started his career in PricewaterhouseCoopers. He moved to First Bank. He moved to Standard Chartered Bank. He went back to First Bank. As at when he was in First Bank, he was an executive director, chief financial officer at the age of 39. It was from there that he moved to become the deputy governor in Central Bank. I think he was the youngest as at that time. So same time we're talking about is a couple of other projects in Ibadan. He's past building the biggest hotel in Ibadan. When he was 50, all of you will know in the media space that he commissioned a housing project of about 23 units, not so far from where he lives, that was commissioned by the deputy governor of Lagos State. The same day, he commissioned a 60-room hotel that was commissioned by the former governor of Osun State, Governor Oyetola, the same day. So if you look at this, and these were projects that ran concurrently. So do you want to compare 23 numbers of housing to a 60-bed and a 60-bed hotel that was delivered between 2 years? But nobody saw anything that was wrong because it was just Bayo Adelabu, a private citizen, not a public person who is serving as a minister.
I hear you
So
clearly,
now,
but you know, Nigerians online are questioning whether it's possible for a project of that size to have been fully completed before that date. And I'm sure you understand the skepticism. What was the state of the completion like at in August? Whether it was fully furnished or not. But let's assume that your claims and that of the minister are right. Let's assume that the minister is right, that the mansion was indeed completed before his appointment. Is there a sense to which you understand why Nigerians are really concerned? Because you are joining me from Canada. You probably don't understand the situation of many Nigerians who are reacting online. Nigerians are upset seeing such opulence at a time when they have to pay more for as per tariff, and they have to pay more for fuel, and you know what they are earning doesn't take them home. So you understand what it means when they see their Minister of Power opening what appears a very huge mansion that has electricity all around it.
So, Nifemi, let's put this into proper context so that we understand what we're talking about. So, I have a very deep background in construction, and I practice both in Nigeria and Canada. This is all I do. So, when I talk like a professional, not just somebody who knows the Minister of Power. So, let's put that in proper perspective. So, now the question is, in a time that everything is uptight, people are paying higher tariffs. I'm not going to speak for the Minister of Power based on the tariff people pay for power. However, I know that you, more than any other person, will attest to the fact that there has been improvement in power supply in Nigeria. So when you say that I speak from here, I'm not too sure whether you're more Nigerian than I am, because I run businesses in Nigeria. I am an entrepreneur. I run a factory. I have a farm. I grow cocoa. I grow cassava as of today. So in Nigeria, I have homes in Lagos. I have home in Ile-Ife. In Nigeria, so we understand. So I am not talking as a jackpot diaspora. I'm talking as a proper Nigerian like me and you. Probably you are more privileged than I do. So now when you say that was a sprawling mansion, yes, it's a big house. I'm not going to deny that. But the truth of the matter is, people who have the profile of Mr. Bayo Adelabu will probably build a quarter of this house or a third of this house somewhere in Banana Island, somewhere in Odikoyi, and nobody will say a word about it. But the truth of the matter is, the cost of the land at which they build the facility is more than the cost to construct this building that you are seeing in Ibadan. And this is a man who has lived 95% of weekends in Ibadan, not in Lagos. Because why? He's an addicted Ibadan man. So when you see people who are so attached to their roots, and they believe that if nobody does this in my town, who else will do it? And they take this thing upon themselves to do it. So we tag them, but when they are private citizens like me and you, nobody complains.
Mr. Awotinde,
So
I hear you and I understand your point of view, but you don't think public officials should be more cautious about showcasing such personal wealth while in office?
Okay, Nifemi, I know that your office used to be in K2, which all of us knew before it was set ablaze during the NSAS. Now you are where you are, somewhere in Eco Atlantic City. So today people will say that project was built because you moved in there maybe early this year or late last year. They will say, why are you just moving into that place? The truth of the matter is, did that project started yesterday? Of course, no. So people will say, why is he moving to the house today? Why is he bringing in furniture? So if he procures If you start a project, you start a construction project, to get an approval to do your job, you begin your procurement, you set up who your subtrades are, who are your electrical engineer, who are your mechanical engineer, who is a builder, who is doing your interior, who is doing your furnitures, who is designing, who is supplying. So you lined up all those people, you mobilize them, you pay for them. For instance, you pay for furniture 3 years ago, 2 years ago, ahead of time, which is what happens in most cases. You mobilize for furniture at the beginning of the project, maybe 70%, 80%. Then you have to wait for the painter to finish before you put in your furniture. So when I become a commissioner in my state, for instance, or they make me director general, and I will say, oh, because now I'm a director general, that project that I'm doing, because it's not yet painted, I'm not going to move into it. No, let's be realistic. I understand it's a tough time for Nigerians.
I'm also hoping that we can really benchmark, world standard in this regard. For instance, thoughts like what can be done to ensure transparency in public officials' asset declarations, so that questions like these are answered before controversies erupt, because it doesn't look good for the minister, and not everyone who saw that online media report are also going to wait to hear his own side of the story.
I disagree with you, Nifemi, because before now, he has put into the public everything that has to do with the project, which, even if you don't know him, you need to give him credit for that. It was as bad as showing the approval plan, showing the stages of the construction, the sub-construction, the post-construction, before it was plastered, when it was plastered. Those things were dated. It was screenshots of charts that were dated. And it's not like somebody was manipulating it. They were dated. So if he has done that, and because all his life, don't forget, this guy has done well for himself. Let's give him the credit. So
people are going to measure him not for how well he's done for himself, but how well he's done as Minister of Power, and what the quality of electricity is today relative to when he took on that portfolio. But we have to go in a minute. I'm wondering what your response is to those who believe statements from associates like yourself are simply damage control for the minister.
There's not, well, people are open to believe what they want to believe. We are not an architect of mind, but the truth of the matter is, reason why people like us will come up and speak to matters like this, we can as well disregard and not even think about it. But when you leave lies to linger for a very long time, people miscontrol it for truth. So now, and you just made, so when people who know the truth don't speak up, people who peddle lies are seen as the one who are sharing the news. Meanwhile, we're in the age and time where anybody want to share news, everybody want to trend, and so far you're in the public domain, you can be crucified at any time, and anybody who speak for you or speak in defense of you is seen as somebody who is corroborating or who is supporting who. But the truth of the matter is, when people refuse to step up and say what truth is, probably hiding under whatever they think, and they want to look good in the public and they don't want to offend anybody, then people who are doing the right thing will be unjustly crucified. I'm talking about what is doing in the power sector. You know that the cost is high. People are saying that band A is high. But when you compare what you pay for band A now against what we used to pay for diesel and generator, is still a reasonable rate.
We are going to find another time to talk about the cost-reflective tariff. And when you begin to compare it with the cost of diesel and petrol, we also know what the cost of petrol was before 2023, right? So that's a conversation for an entirely different topic, and I'm hoping that we can also bring it over again. Ladi Awotinde is a construction entrepreneur who's joined us live from Canada. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you so much for having me, Nifemi.